So Representative Jayapal, thank you for being here with us at Daily Kos, and thank you for coming to She the People Summit. We're so excited to be here among 500 women of color who are here transforming American politics in one way or another. And here you are, the first South Asian American woman in Congress, doing incredible work every day. What do you feel like is happening right now in terms of the number of women working, running for office? Do you feel like this is a wave that we're seeing, or some kind of a movement that will be sustained?
I think it's a movement. I think it's a series of waves, and I think each one is going to get bigger. When I ran, Ilhan Omar had just been elected to the state senate in Minnesota, or the state house. And I remember that everybody was trying to find something good out of the election because Donald Trump had been elected, but then there were all these women of color who had also been elected, and I think we were desperately looking for and then working towards building the ladder so that more of us could be here in elected office, using these platforms to organize and to speak out for other women of color and to help bring more people in. And I look at today and I think about Ilhan and Rashida, and Deb Haaland, and many of the women of color that I've been supporting and campaigning for, Gina Ortiz-Jones in Texas, Johanna in Connecticut, Sharice Davids in Kansas. I mean, all these women who I think are realizing how deeply important their voice is, and how running for office and being in office is a way to change what they don't like about the system and what they feel needs to be changed. And so I'm really, really excited. It's like coming home to see all these candidates, many of whom I've known for many, many years and have been talking to on text or by phone as they go through the really challenging process of running for office. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy, right? And you're incredibly accomplished. You've done so much in your career. You served as a state representative, of course, in Washington. You've worked on Wall Street and nonprofits. You led the largest voter registration drive in your state. What made that? Why did you decide to shift from activism into running for office? What was that shift for you?
What's interesting is I still think of myself as an organizer and an activist first. And I think that as an activist, though, before 15 years starting and running the largest immigrant advocacy organization in Washington state, suing the Bush administration, fighting Islamophobia right after 9/11, working for comprehensive immigration reform, I got tired of seeing, not being able to get some of the things done that I felt we needed to get done.
Yeah.
And I realized how much of that rested with the fact that there weren't enough organizers in office. There weren't enough women of color in office. There weren't enough immigrants in office. And I realized that we as activists were really ceding important political ground by not running for office ourselves, and by not thinking about elected office as another platform for organizing. So I decided to give it a try by running for the state senate. I became the only woman of color in the state senate in Washington, was there for 2 years, and then ran for Congress. And in addition to being the first South Asian woman, I'm also one of only 12 members of Congress who were born outside of the United States, and as a proud immigrant myself, and particularly at this time in our country's history, that feels very, very important to be able to bring that voice to the table.
Yeah, so like you said, you came here when you were 16 years old, right? You went to Georgetown, and then you went on to get your law degree at Northwestern, your master's degree at Northwestern. So how has your experience as an immigrant really shaped the way you serve?
It changes everything. I mean, diversity isn't just about the pictures looking better or checking a box. It's really about bringing a lived experience to bear. And so the stories that I tell and the stories that I respond to as a human being are very different because of my immigrant experience and because of my organizing experience. The hearings that I chair differently. I tell different stories and I listen to different stories. I craft different legislation because I see how desperately needed that perspective is and how it's not being represented. And I also think about legislating very differently. For me, it's about building a coalition with outside groups. It's not something that you do on your own as a legislator. But my bill that would reform immigration detention completely, it's H.R. 3923, we crafted over 6 months with a coalition of 60 groups. And so that brings so much power to when you want to pass it. It's a coalition that's really been pushing for this, and it's a coalition that's going to fight for it when the legislation is out there. So that's why we have 107 co-sponsors, which was unthinkable 3 years ago, and we're just building on that.
Right. And you just, you said the obvious that running for office is not easy, especially for women of color. It's hard too. What advice do you have for these young women who are here at this conference or watching this now who are thinking about running for office?
Well, I tell people to think about what they want to do, not who they want to be. Because I think it's easy to get pulled into the seductiveness of an elected official platform, but you forget why you're really doing it. And I don't do it because I love the title of Congresswoman. I do it because I have something that I want to accomplish. And I think you have to know that and be grounded in that, first of all. And then I tell people it's about organizing. Get to know as many people as you can. Get involved in your local community first. I came to Congress when I was 51 years old, and I'm proud of that. I think that that's a good thing. It's not that I don't think that 28-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds should all be in Congress too, but it did give me kind of a perspective of what it means to organize, to be connected to community, to work in community. I never wanted to be an elected official, actually.
Right. Okay.
I only ran because I felt like this was the next place that I could really make a big difference.
Right.
And so that's what's in it for me. And I hope that people that run think about it that way, that it is a wonderful thing and an honor to represent 750,000 people. But the real honor is in fighting every day for something that you believe in and something that's going to make the community better. And that's really what drives me.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.